Hello everyone and welcome back to Sudden Wealth. I hope you guys are doing very well. I'm back here at my intermediary stop before I go back home. It's gonna be quite the distance to travel, but by next week I'll be back in my normal setup. So thank you all for keeping up with me over this time period. If you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. As you guys know, it greatly helps the channel. Now, a lot of things has happened since my latest video. Obviously, the escalation of tensions in the Middle East is grabbing all the attention. Is a bit of at this stage, let's call it a gray swan, in the sense that it is a very serious matter. It has very big ramifications. However, it's not totally unexpected. So a black swan, by definition, is something that nobody's foreseeing, and then all of a sudden just happens, and it creates a massive disruption and a massive repricing in markets and massive reactions and all of that. Now, the situation that is unfolding is quite troublesome, is quite worrying, and this is one of the reasons why I said that I am not an American citizen. I don't have per se a horse in this race in the sense of my day-to-day life. But one of the reasons that I said that that I would like Trump to be elected is indeed I do have the feeling that he's the only one that we have good chances that he will put a stop into all of these escalations. As if you listen, well, Biden doesn't even know what is happening, so it doesn't even count. But Kamala will be. I said this a few months ago. For those of you who follow my channel quite regularly, I made a prediction a few months ago. I said if she wins, the US will be in a new conflict shortly, and it's going to be with Iran. And as you can see, all the pieces of that puzzle are starting to fall. Once again, the reason why I focus so much in financial freedom is because unfortunately there's nothing I can do. This is not my decision. I have no power to impact any of this. But by obtaining financial freedom, I can live in places in the world where I can shield myself and my loved ones from all these situations. That's the best I can hope for. That's the best that I can do. And that's, to be honest, my responsibility as a father and as a husband to do. All else, I can wish for things, I can hope for things, but there's very little that in fact I can do. What's happening is, obviously, forget about markets or investing at the human level. It's terrible. It's not something that I like. However, you need to understand that there are people, that win in this situation. So people say, "Oh, the US didn't win, in Iraq or in Afghanistan." So it depends on what you're saying. For certain companies, yes, they win. Not for the American citizens, no, not for the Iraqi citizens, not for the world peace. Nobody won on that. But the people who were playing for these conflicts to last, they won, and they won big. You see, the point of these conflicts and the involvement of the US is not to win them. It's not to reach for peace in 2 years. The point is to have them last 10, 15 years until the political opinion becomes so damaging, so disturbingly bad, that they stop it. That's it. There's a reason why almost $1 trillion goes into the military per year. And of course, and now making the bridge to markets, in the short run, this is bad for risk assets, namely crypto. Not just crypto, but particularly crypto. So the riskiest frontier of the assets get slammed the hardest. That is normal for a while. And the reason is from if you want to be very cold-blooded about it and just look at the investment side of it, what this means is more money printing. That's it. And if basically higher inflation numbers come for some reason, which I don't expect to come. But if they do, now they have excuses because said, oh my God, who cares about 4% inflation? We need to stop these guys, right? That's kind of the message that's gonna go around. But I actually don't believe that's gonna happen. And as you guys know, I've had the position very unlike many people on YouTube, which is cutting rates and printing money. If you have banks as gatekeepers, that's actually deflationary. Now, case in point of more, I could go back to the time period between 2008 and 2021, etc. But let's make it shorter term, right? China has been printing money for more than a year, and they're facing deflation, and now they just dropped the most massive stimulus package they've ever done. The ECB has been cutting rates, and guess what? Inflation in the Eurozone is now 1.8%. So as they cut rates, inflation came down, the CPI inflation. Who's been saying that for the long time? Here in this channel. You've been listening. I've actually had quite the arguments with some people in the comment section saying that I was missing this and missing that. I said, no. It's very simple. As long as the banks operate as gatekeepers, this money only goes to the wealthiest people, and the wealthiest people buy assets with it. So real estate goes up, stocks go up, crypto goes up, but the CPI goes down because they don't eat 10 dinners, they don't drive 7 cars per day, and they don't have 5 lunches and live in 20 houses at the same time. So the impact on the CPI gets minimalized. Now with crypto, it's amazing to me. I think I've never seen a cycle with so much PTSD. So we went from everybody was extremely depressed when we hit 52,250 on Bitcoin. I said, extreme fear is great. We will be above 80K by the end of November. Remember that people were saying Bitcoin 40K, Bitcoin 30K, Bitcoin 25, all of this kind of stuff. The bull market is over, blah, blah, blah. Then we rally into 66,000. Now everybody's happy again. Now Bitcoin is amazing, Bitcoin 100K, Bitcoin a million in May, Bitcoin 5 million, all of this. And then we retraced 10% of a massive move. And basically what we did today was retest the 50-day moving average. That's it. Now the 50 weekly moving average is at 56,000. So I think at the worst, we're going to go there. Probably not, but at the worst, 56 to 57. But other than that, we just tested an important moving average, the 50-day moving average. Once again, the videos are out. Bull market is finished. The conflict will destroy all the investments and everything's going to go to zero. The bull market is over, bear market coming, etc. So we are back to the same. Now, will people fall for the same thing? I hope not, but I don't know. First of all, conflicts, unfortunately, are bullish for investments in the long term. Sure, in the short term, you have these big corrections in short time periods, perfectly normal. These are the scare trades. The dollar goes up, gold goes up, oil goes up, and most of the time, bonds go up. That's it. Classic fear trade. Nothing special, nothing different has happened a million times. And then, as people start to price in, hey, wait a minute, how will the central banks react? Oh, they will print a lot of money. Boom, then the risk assets come up. It's always the same pattern. So basically, if Bitcoin is, 64,000 by Sunday, then everybody's happy again, and the bull market is back on. And Bitcoin 5 million by December 2025 kind of predictions will pop up again. Understand, the point is, if the sentiment is bearish, the videos come with bearish titles and bearish content. And by the way, they also think, the other way, if Bitcoin is up, then the predictions to $1 million come, and you are back and forth. So once again, for example, Crypto Banter, but later on that guy was already saying that he was in an abusive relationship with Ethereum, and he hates Ethereum, and he sold all of his Ethereum. And then when Ethereum pops, I'm sure he will be there saying he was a true believer in Ethereum. This is crypto, and unfortunately, it's filled with dishonesty and disingenuous people. This is something you need to realize that's gonna actually multiply as we move forward into the cycle. Fortunately, if you guys have been listening to this channel, you are already prepared for this years ago, because I was talking about this years ago. Not years ago, because I'm only here, it's a bit of an hyperbole. I started the channel in June 2023, so more than a year ago. One of my first videos was about this subject, and but later on that. So basically, we just retraced to a normal moving average, and also in the stock market, we have had some retracement, because for you to have an idea of all the sectors in the stock market, I think all of them in my models were at the buy, except one, which I think was still weak, kind of weak. I think it was utilities, but basically everything was pointing long. That means if everything's pointing long, then everybody is in, everybody's buying. So you need to lose some steam, rebalance some of those signals, push them a little bit back down, so we can then move up again. We need this, we go up, release the pressure, we go up, release the pressure, we go up. We need this period. Now, what you may have been noticing, and this is something we've talked ad nauseum in this channel, is that because the currency is getting faker, these movements happen quicker. Bigger movements, these corrections last 2-3 days, and they go into the moving average that they should go. Instead of taking 3 weeks, it takes 3 days. If you blink, you miss it. And it is what it is. This is something that will keep on happening because the currency is faker. Once again, something that has been discussed ad nauseum in this channel. So, by the way, this is an important point that I must say. Yes, October and November are the best months in crypto. That doesn't mean that every single day of the month is amazing. Understand this. This is the problem I think that people face. I've said this before. I've seen very little people comment about this. In bull markets, you have up to 40% retracements on Bitcoin. You have retracements on altcoins of 60, 65, 70, 75, and even 85% during the bull market. Now, so it's not all green. So this is something that you need to understand, that you need to be comfortable with. Otherwise, I'm sorry to say, you're going to struggle, because the volatility will just increase from now on. Because there are people who are completely obsessed with the bull market being over and everything being shut down. So be very careful with this, because you're going to have a lot of people, taking profit too soon, taking profit too late. This is always the same. Now, so far I've said this, Q2, Q3 2025 seems to be the most likely time period for the top. This will only be known as we approach the top. One thing that I need to say is that typically altcoins peak 12 months after Bitcoin halving. So that would be April 2025. Last cycle was May 2021. Now, the crypto cycle then lasted into November 2021, but a lot of the altcoins peaked in May 2021. I think BNB peaked in May 2021 and did not peak at November 2021. So be very careful. Usually, altcoins peak 12 months after the halving, which would be April 2025. We will keep a very close eye on it. Maybe it lasts longer. Maybe, because what I've seen, and I think Somi mentioned this as well, is everyone is so obsessed about 2025 that we may have a lackluster 2025 and then a little very strong push into 2026 as people think, the bull market is over, I got out of the top, and then you have one massive move that basically traps everybody in at the top, and then you have the bear market. We'll see. Impossible to say at this stage, just thinking about scenarios going forward. You see how most people thought that the left translated cycle was going to be the one to play out? As soon as it became the consensus opinion, it did not happen at all. We had 6 months of boredom, correction, downward movement, and consolidation, right? To basically make everybody give up on that prediction. Now, the consensus seems to be moving Q3 2025, which is what I've been saying since 2023. But if that becomes too big of a consensus, then you have the possibility that that's not going to materialize. The reason why it's so hard is because even though people today are saying Q2, Q3 2025, when you get to the euphoria phase, the movements are so aggressive to the upside that people start to push forward and forward their top predictions, which means that the Q2, Q3 2025, which is now consensus, becomes not a consensus. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. I'll make a different video also on the reasons why I'm bullish for this cycle. But here I wanted to say something. So Crypto Banter popped the X and post-chain bubbles in this channel. Now, if you don't know, he has something called Banter bubbles, where you see the biggest bubbles on crypto performing over a time frame of a day, a week, etc. And he popped, meaning he made disappear X and post-chain. Now, this is the same guy who promoted Luna, FTX, all of this. But this is an example. And then he said, oh my God, I must have printed by mistake, because the gains were so big that it was covering everything else. This is the same guy that promised never to do this a few years ago, and now he's doing it again. Expect things like this from YouTube influencers, which are here for you. Now, the reason why I'm underweight Solana is because all of these guys are recommending Solana, which means all of them have huge bags of it. And they're desperately trying to convince you to go into Solana so they can dump on you. Now, I cannot give you financial advice. As you guys know, I'm here just to record my my path to what I expect financial freedom. As you guys know, my retirement coins, I've disclosed them a long time ago. PulseChain, PLSX, HEDRON, and ICOSA. Then I have incentive token, PDI, Bitmora's lottery tickets, and then outside of PulseChain ecosystem, I still have PulseSpot as well as a lottery ticket, and then outside PulseChain ecosystem, I have Andy, Hoppy, Matt. What else? Andy, Hoppy, Matt. Bird Dog. No, I sold. I think those are the 3 ones that I have now. Andy, Handy, I got in at around that 1.6, 1.5 million market cap. And on Hoppy, I got in at around 1 million market cap. So those are my lottery tickets. I've said this consistently months ago, and I've done it in the worst possible times. Meaning that I talked about them when nobody wants them, when everybody calls them a scam, when everybody thinks they're going to go to zero. I talked about them. I predict that the Richard Hart coins will be the most hated coins in crypto for 2 reasons. Number one is people think he's a scammer and they hate him and they hate everything he's created, so they are hated on that side. Number 2 is because it has been extremely painful to hold them and to keep conviction, which means a lot of people sold. And now we are seeing, X pumped 4x, 4 times in 20 days. I think the ramp ups and the explosions in price will be so quick that they will leave people behind, and people who sold either will hate it because they've sold and now the whole thing went up without them, or they will be unable to take it, dump huge clips after big moves, and basically get sliced and diced because they buy with a FOMO instead of buying when they were cheap. I've never lost any conviction. As you guys know, you guys are my witnesses. You don't allow me to lie. I'm the only YouTuber that I know that I've never made a negative, derogatory, or losing conviction kind of video about the RH coins, and I've disclosed my positions during the worst possible times to do it, like the SEC case coming. That was the week that I disclosed my positions. I feel confident in it. Am I advising you to? No, I'm not here for you to copy trade me. I'm not here for you to copy invest me. I'm not here to create a cult of people. There are so many YouTube channels for that. Take your pick. If you guys want to do it, it's your life. It's up to you. I'm just sharing my journey. If you guys like it, please like and subscribe. If you guys don't like me, you don't need to be here. And with that, thank you very much for your support, guys. Thank you very much for keeping tuning in. And yeah, once again, I'm almost going back to my usual setup. Thank you for keeping up with me over this time period. Don't forget, drop that like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.